everybody, it's Mike Young, lifestyle nutritionist. Welcome to chapter 91 of my book, Live to 150. I'm a lifestyle nutritionist with aPlantBasedDiet.org. This chapter is dedicated to the American dream, and it is actually about giving up the American dream. I think that's what will be very helpful for many people here, because the American dream is almost like the cause, the root cause in many ways. Not to say you have to give it up, but if you do, it's going to be so much easier. Or if you even consider giving it up. I even had a chapter, let's say, on minimalism earlier in this book. I'm going to be talking about, and I have talked about, growing your own food, these types of things. Now, the American dream kind of contributes to the lifestyle of disease, because if you think about the American dream, what I think of it, I don't know what you think of it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the American dream. Is that it's some mid to larger size detached house in the suburbs somewhere that is really car centric and almost like, promotes on the surface it seems like a community, but it actually promotes more of a lack of community, because most of what you need is inside of your house, and things are delivered to you. At least nowadays in 2022, Amazon and other places are constantly just delivering. You don't even have to leave the house, and if you do, you can leave it in the car. You don't even have to walk to your car. Your car is right there in your garage. Usually, I would say that's part of the American dream, just a few steps from the interior living space of your house. So what's wrong with this? Well, there's so many things that are wrong with it, I can't even begin to tell you. And I will tell you though, I also want to mention that I'm a licensed realtor, so I'm coming at this from a different perspective that you may not have thought about first. This is a realtor telling you that you should give up the American dream. Well, it's just that the whole cycle of what's perpetuated when you get involved in that and chase after that, like if that's your goal, because we had a chapter on goals earlier in the book. If your goal is whatever that is similar to what I just described, it's going to be much more difficult for you to have these longevity habits that are going to, help to extend your life and help to make your life just a lot more happy and fulfilling. I know it's almost paradoxical in a way, if you think about it, because what you're gaining with the American dream is you're gaining a lot of material things. And you may even be gaining some experiences like vacations and things as well, but it's all at the expense of your health. And a lot of times I hear, and I do believe this is true, that many people spend so much time working so hard at their career or whatever it might be, and they in the process give up their health, because their health, something has to give, something has to suffer, and it's usually the health. And then when they finally get to the point where they want to be at, they don't have their health anymore. And then they have to try to figure out how to reclaim it. And sometimes it's almost been too late, although a lot of times it isn't. But usually people don't even realize it. If you go that many decades through like a career of destroying your health, it's not going to be easy to just turn that thing around. You can't teach old dogs new tricks, that type of an idea. And just, if you're watching this book, just the idea of you considering some of the things I write about in these chapters is like, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. A lot of people say I'd rather be dead than if I do that. It's because of the training you've had. It's because of the decades and decades of doing it wrong or doing it not the way I'm saying, that it makes it very difficult for you. And again, the American dream is kind of what gets you into that cycle, and then you can't get out of it. So I would definitely suggest that you pursue alternative methods to the American dream. I know a lot of people are into we are involved in some intentional communities, which are very inexpensive, actually. You look on our website at aPlantBasedDiet.org, there's a tab on there. We're involved in growing your own food. We're involved in different forms of real estate, like the intentional communities and like other things that we're working on right now. It's kind of weird because, like, if we talk about growing your own food, for instance, everybody wants this American dream of some kind of golf course-like looking lawn. And in almost every case, they want this lawn surrounding their house, at least on the front and sides, right? And maybe not the whole back, but maybe they want a pool. I don't know, want something else in there that's not natural. But that's what people want. And with the lawns and the landscapes, none of that stuff is native for the most part. It's sprayed with all kinds of chemicals. There's all kinds of maintenance involved. And of course, none of it gives you any food. So then you go to the grocery store, and we've talked about at the grocery store for your food. like 80% of what's in the grocery store, you should not be eating. All right. It's food is grown is really what you need to do. So I've seen people who have done food forests, and then the realtor approaches them when it's time to sell their house, and they hire a real estate agent, and they say, you got to get rid of all this stuff. Just get rid of all the plants. No buyer or almost all your buyers are not going to want that. They want the golf course, non-native, chemical lawn. That's what they want. And that's just the time we're living in here now in 2022. And of course, they want so many bedrooms and bathrooms. So although tiny homes have started a trend, and it may be good, it may be bad in terms of their demand. Sometimes they're in high demand, other times you can't sell them. Although right now it seems like they're really good properties that people want to live in as long as they're designed well and do short-term rentals like Airbnb and things like that. So the American dream, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's so much easier. And like I said, yes, you can do all this stuff with the American dream. But another thing that you might want to consider is that if you try to get all this American dream stuff, and let me know in the comments what you think the American dream is. I want to hear all the different aspects of it. Because my thought is, let's say you're one individual and you've got a life partner, and you want the American dream, or they want it. But you recognize all these things that I'm talking about in this book about living to 150, but chances are the other person doesn't. Because usually when there's something that somebody's going after the American dream, they want all the material things. They want all this dream, right? And as I've mentioned, you're also going to be subject with the American dream in almost all cases to the diseases of affluence and the sick care system. And you're going to probably end up with somebody as a life partner who is not on board with you about all these habits. So just consider that. You have to decide what's more important to you. And hopefully you've done a good job about writing your goals down. I got a chapter on that in the past. Determining your life purpose, also a chapter like that in the past. Just go back into this playlist, live to 150.org, and you'll find it. It's all important. All this stuff works together, right? All this stuff works together. And there's not any one part that's going to be kind of an outlier off on its own. It's not going to affect the rest. They all affect it, because this is a very difficult thing. As I'm recording this here in 2022, it's not easy. So you got to give yourself the best chance at success if this is something you want to do. So if you have some other strategies in terms of how relating to this American dream, let me know. I don't have all the answers, except that I know that the American dream is almost like poison to this lifestyle of health. It really is. And nobody talks about that when you're taught the American dream as a young child or whatever. Somebody plants this stuff in your mind, either Hollywood or there's TV shows you're watching, and everybody, they don't ever talk about this health aspect. I've never heard anybody, because if you realize that it's almost like in so many cases these days, it's one or the other. Either you're choosing health or you choose this American dream thing. And there's not really any in between, because almost nobody chooses health, even though we all know that health is the most important thing. Because without health, anything else that you have is basically completely meaningless, especially if you're dead, because then you have nothing because you're dead. But if you don't have your health, you are getting closer and closer to death every single day, like at a sped up, accelerated pace. And nobody wants that. Not really. If you think about it, nobody wants that, because it involves a lot of displeasure and a lot of unhappiness and a lot of pain. And that's the things that we're trying to keep out of your life. So just recognize that many times when you when you have displeasure, pain, and all these things in your life, it's because you've chosen the American dream over your health. And that's just where we are right now in 2022. You're going to have to make the choice in most cases. So choose wisely. Hopefully I made you think about this. And if you got any kind of value by listening to this chapter, please, of course, hit the like button and subscribe so that we can give you notifications of the next chapter as we release it. We'll see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.